Breaking news. The United States has bombed Iran. We have attacked the three main nuclear facilities that the Israelis couldn't take out. In fact, we took out, well, we bombed the Fordo, the Natanz, and Esfahan nuclear processing facilities, nuclear fuel processing facilities. They have been hit with massive ordnance penetrator bombs. As far as I know, so far, all conventional. At least that's what we hear. So what I hear is that, in fact, 6 aircraft went into this, and each one had two massive ordnance penetrators, the GBU 57. And so that would have been 3 for facility if they, 3 aircraft, 3 facilities, 2 aircraft per facility, 4 MOPS per facility, unless they put more to Fordo. It might have been they only sent 1 aircraft each to the other one. They may have just sent it all the rest to Fordo. We don't know. But they did attack all 3 of those nuclear facilities. Fordo was on buried deep in the mountain, so it might have took extra interest, but it had at least 4 MOPS in the Fordo, 4 per facility. But like I said, they might have split it a little bit so that Fordo will take a bigger hit. I don't know. There's a lot we don't know yet. We don't know all the details. I'm going to share with you the president's statement and on this, because that's how we found out about it. Apparently, Trump had a blackout on this. And this was a statement. We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo. I see that with a W on the end, and I see it without a W. I see it spelled different ways. Natanz and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. All these aircraft made it safely away. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site. That meant each B-2 would have carried 2 each. So Fordo, all planes are safely on the way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, he did say in all caps, now is the time for peace. Now, that would suggest that maybe this was one and done. We're going to drop these bombs, and that's all we got to do, because that's the one thing Israel couldn't do, and maybe we've been in and we're out. Let's hope this is all there is to it. There's a possibility that the United States may look at this and deem otherwise. Now, what's interesting is just prior to this, we announced that we were sending our B-2s to Guam. Yeah, so we kind of faked down and said, hey, we're sending our V-2s to Guam. Now, it's a case that when you launch your B-2s, everybody's going to know you launched them. So, this was a sleight of hand. It's okay. It's all right. We're sending these to Guam while Trump thinks about what he wants to do, while Trump prepares for his decision. Well, he'd already made his decision, and they were, in fact, on their way to Iran. Now, he knows they may want them to Guam now. I don't know. I kind of doubt it. But in any event, my friends, that sleight of hand might have made the attack more successful. I don't know. Here's X and stuff. So it begins. Lord of the Rings. Here was a post saying why a lot of Americans supported this was because we were burning the American flag in the parliament there in Tehran when 9/11 occurred. So I don't know, guys. This is, again, that massive ordnance penetrator, which one of them couldn't have done the job. 4, there's a good chance. They will probably look at this. They'll probably go back and look at the damage assessment, satellite photographs, or whatever on-ground intel they can get, which is probably pretty reasonable considering Mossad, is so entrenched into Iran. They're so everywhere. Almost as bad as Chinese in America, probably not nowhere near that level of entrenchment and entanglement, but they're there. And I say as a warning. Talk about the Chinese. So, my friends, this happened. And if they determine that they didn't do the job, they might go back again with this guy, the ground penetrator version of the B-61 bomb. This is the, excuse me, this is the B-6111. It is the one that's designed to be a penetrator. We're talking nuclear in this case. If this don't do the job, they might come back with these. I don't know. We'll have to see. Stop the share. So, in essence, the big questions now is what's next? Are we done? Are we out of it? Will Iran retaliate in such a way that we'll retaliate again? Is this going to be a further escalation thing? How could they escalate? Well, they do still have proxies. Most of their proxies have been taken out. They still have a little bit left down in Yemen, the Houthis, and There are still Iranian proxies that weren't ever really directly attacked, like the ones in Syria and Hamas, because they weren't so close to Israel. But there are still some Iranian proxies in Iraq. We got a huge base there, the embassy. Now, supposedly we've got plans to withdraw our personnel from the Mideast. We still have a lot of personnel in the Mideast at bases scattered around, which could be targeted. That's the first target. And if they were targeted, you can bet the United States will hit back hard. The other potential, would it be a one and done? I don't know. Tit for tat escalation? I don't know. But look, we do have a lot of resources in the area, a lot of naval aircraft, a lot of Air Force aircraft, a lot more than just the B-52s that dropped the bomb. Why don't we put all that in place? And here's another thing that a lot of people hadn't considered in terms of retaliation. The Doomsday plane, which is sitting at Andrews Air Force Base right now. If you didn't expect that somebody could retaliate on the homeland, then you would think, okay, we're fine to run all this in the Situation Room, at the White House, and the Pentagon. The fact that we have the Doomsday plane on tarmac could have been just a signal, a statement, but you use that when you're under attack here at homeland. That's when it's really needed. When you can't operate from the Pentagon, when you can't operate from the White House, then you go to the Doomsday plane. So the fact that they've got the Doomsday plane ready might mean that they anticipate that Iran could still pose a credible threat to the United States, or maybe the United States has got intel that China or Russia will come in on their side. I don't think Russia will do it because Russia is so embroiled in Ukraine. I don't think they can afford to do this. And I don't think China would do it directly either. However, there were now 5 planes, ghost planes, that flew into Iran from China. They flew along mostly the Chinese routes coming in, or the Chinese friendly countries in East Asia, and they were their flight manifest said they were flying to Luxembourg, but they all turned. So they filed a false destination. None of these planes went there, and they all turned their transponders off when they got over Iran. So they were totally concealing whatever they were doing. They were flying big cargo 747 aircraft. You can carry a lot of stuff with big cargo F-747s, including there is some actually intercontinental ballistic missiles you could take on something like that. So what did China source to Iran? We don't know. I was teasing about it last night, I believe it was. It was not for us. That's all not for us. It's all kind of running together for me now. Saying it could have just been fuzzy pillows. But really, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. The worst case is maybe they sent some nukes in. I said, so that forensics wouldn't implicate China when the radioactivity is monitored and to see what kind of isotopes are in it, which can tell you where the bomb came from. They could have taken uranium fuel from Iran, reprocessed it, packaged it, and sent it back. Then you would assume, then when the detonations occurred, you go, oh, that was Iranian. I don't know, my friends. The thing I was worried most about is, will Iran activate sleeper cells in America? They might drop a nuke. They might do a nuke. They had that video where they were petting a nuke like it was a kitty cat. That could happen. They could have them. And they're on their last leg now. So if they were ever going to do it, it'd be now. However, it might be sleeper cells that get it activated. And the United States FBI is firmly aware of that and trying to track down some of these sleeper cells to monitor them. We don't know. We just flat don't know how much command and control they still have with these sleeper cells. What are the motivation of these sleeper cells? Do they get activated just because we attacked Iran? Got to bear in mind, our attack on Iran is not an attack that would take down the state there. It takes the teeth out of the dog, but it don't take the dog down. You see what I'm saying? You defang the dog, but the dog is still barking. You haven't gotten rid of the dog. That dog ain't pushing daisies. So that means we didn't actually try to take the regime down. Is that the level that it takes to activate sleeper cells, or is it just putting an attack on it? I don't know. Can it be activated? Can the FBI stop them? If they can't, we got a lot to be worried about. But there's more sleeper cells here in the United States than just uranium. We got to worry about the CCP. What Xi Jinping may have up his sleeve. So, my friends, we could get more entangled into this, or maybe it's done. Let's hope and pray this is the last word of the United States. But I don't know. We got to stay tuned, and there'll be more coming out. I don't know if I'm going to go live again. Now, if I go live this evening, I might. If there's a lot of news rolling out on this, my plans was to produce a video on what to do about sleeper cells. a threat of them, and what you ought to do should they get activated. So certain things to be aware of, certain things they may target. So I plan to do another video on that. And I need to do that as a standalone video because that's evergreen type information. So I'm tempted to do it live. But that is the kind of information people need to come back to over. When I do a live video, people only look at it for the first couple of days and it's done. But I need something out there that people come back to. All right, guys. So that's the bottom line. The United States has attacked. The planes are out of harm's way now. And so it's done. Now we got to see how the world and Iran reacts. All right. I'm sure we'll have a lot more to this story and how all this plays out. But I'm going to say thank you for watching. Thank you, one and all. And Greg out.